Tonight, I'd like to focus on something that uh, something that occurred to me, something that I was involved in maybe, I don't know, 5 months ago. It was back when I was working as a CNA, and my client, he's a really religious guy, and we would have Bible studies pretty frequently. And this was something that came up. This was something that came up a lot when we were reading and we were deciphering the word. And the thing that we always came back to was knowing the truth and falling away from the truth. I'll talk more about it later in my sermon about what is the truth and how are we falling away from it. And specifically what I want to talk about tonight is how you are as a servant and what you are serving and how it's affecting you. I'll start with some reading in Hebrews. I'll start Hebrews chapter 9. I'll start verse 11. But when Christ appeared as a high priest of the good things that have come, then through the greater and more perfect tent, he entered once for all into the holy places, not by means of the blood of goats and calves, but by means of his own blood, thus securing an eternal redemption. For if the blood of goats and bulls and the sprinkling of defiled persons with the ashes of a heifer sanctify for the purification of the flesh, how much more will the blood of Christ, who through the eternal Spirit offered himself without blemish to God, purify our conscience from dead works to serve the living God? So right here, the first section I'm reading from, here we are being exposed to the truth. And the truth is that Jesus has spilled his blood for us. That's the truth. That's what we all have to finally come back to. At the end of the day, whatever we're going through, that's what we have to come back to, is knowing the truth. I'll continue reading about Hebrews 10. Hebrews 10 around verse 26. For if we go on sinning deliberately after receiving the knowledge of the truth, there no longer remains a sacrifice for sins, but a fearful expectation of judgment and a fury of fire that will consume the adversaries. So this is right here, just literally in the same area. It's saying, here is the truth, and if you're going against the truth, you're going to have some issues. You're going to have some problems. So what I want to relate this to is our servanthood and how we're being servants, whether it be to things of the flesh, whether it be to God, whether it be anywhere in between. So when we're being Christians in our daily lives and we're going about acting as we do, we come across obstacles, obviously. Even as humans, we come across obstacles that prevent us from going forward, that prevent us from actually moving on to what we want to do, moving on to our goals. And what happens a lot is humans will get obsessed with the idea of having money, power, respect, something that they feel they need, right? Obviously, if I'm living my daily life, right, if I'm letting these things consume me, obviously my mind is on something else. So I want to kind of relate it to as if you have shackles, right? Imagine if you're serving God, right? God receives your full attention, right? If you're living your life for God, you're not living for something else. If you're devoting your life to God, that's all you can serve, right? So if you start dabbling in, I want power, I want money, I want respect, there you start hindering yourself down, right? And since we know that the truth will set us free, the truth is the blood of Jesus, but we start shackling ourselves down, right? It's not talking about a fear of, when it talks about having a fear, expectation of judgment, right? It's not like, oh, I'm gonna experience a lot of pain right now. It's about losing your salvation. So if I'm seeking power, right? Imagine it's like a shackle right around my wrist, right? Like someone pretend to pull my wrist. Someone just pretend. There we go. There it is. I'm being pulled down, right? This hunger for power, right? It's pulling me down, right? Let's go to the other hand. Let's say this is money. Somebody pull for money. You want money? Pull it. There we go. There we go. I got money in one hand. I got power in another hand, right? And now what's going to happen if I'm being pulled in two directions? Can someone pull? There we go. Ooh. I'm being pulled. But there, I'm running into a conflict, right? I'm running into a situation where, okay, I want money, I want power. Looks like I'm going to have to go through some pain to get it, some fleshly pain. Before we move on, I'll read another verse. I'll say Galatians 5:13. You, my brothers and sisters, were called to be free, but do not use your freedom to indulge the flesh. Rather, serve one another humbly in love. So I talked about what the truth is. I talked about what's happening if you're knowing the truth yet deliberately sinning. And now here we're being told that we can gain freedom, right? So again, if you forgot, I got power in this hand. I got money in this hand. Let's say I got the desire for respect in this leg. I don't know, wanting to be famous. Does anyone want to do that? I've got these things attached to me, right? I've got these shackles down. I'm being pulled down, right? I know the truth, but I'm letting myself be held down. I want to advance, but I'm still here. When we're trying to move forward, we only have one option, and that's to re-encounter the truth. Being set free, it's honestly a super easy thing that I feel everyone feels is a difficult thing, right? Because then at that point we have to admit that we were wrong. We have to admit that we were sinning. We have to admit that we're going the wrong direction. Now, if we're breaking shackles, right? I had this shackle for power, off, right? Shackle for money, off. Anything that's holding you down, it can be taken off, right? We have this simple truth that we can always fall back on. Now, one argument that's always presented when this sort of situation arises, like, well, I want a lot of money because I only have so much time. I only have so much time. I want to be someone in the certain amount of time that I have. I want my name to be known, even though I'll only live 70, 80, 90, 100 years. I want it to be known after I'm gone, for thousands of years, right? Because we believe that time here on earth is something that's valuable, right? But here's the thing. Time on earth, and I'm pretty sure this will be repeated later in the evening, your time has no value in both ways, right? Your time is extremely important to God, and at the same time, the devil couldn't care less about how much time you have. We're in a constant battle. We're in a constant struggle, being pulled down one way and the other, right? When we're looking at time, right? Time is invaluable. We can't put a price on time. We can't say, my time is worth this much. And once you are saying, my time is worth $11.50 after tax, once you start saying that, now you're selling yourself out, right? Now you're saying, I think I want to earn more here now rather than what I'm going to gain in the future. And so this freedom that we can get, right, it's a freedom that can relieve us of our strains, of our shackles, and realize, yeah, you know what? My time here is short. And really, I can make the most of that time and bring others to God. What I realized working in the medical field and seeing people that I've known pass is that when you come close to passing, many people do not want to go. Many people still want to keep living, right? Even if you're old and you can't do anything, right? People still want to keep living. And it's not because they feel like they can keep doing things. It's because it's a fear of leaving what you have behind. It's a fear of never being able to see the people around you in this world. We're afraid for each other. When you die, when you're close to death, you're afraid for everyone else. You say, how will people go on without me? Right? How are people going to go on without me? Right? People will go on. But when you're coming to the end of your life, and this is again what I've seen, not only do you wish to keep living, but at the same time, you feel like you're ready. And I've seen this with my clients. I've seen this with my grandfather. It's a resistance to going. It's a resistance. You want to stay down. It's like your final shackle, right? It's the final thing that's holding you down, is that you want to stay here. You want to be with your grandchildren. You want to be with your friends. You want to be with your family. And then once you come to that realization that passing on, and you inherit your salvation, you inherit what we talk about at church every Sunday, every Tuesday, every day of the week. You inherit that, and you actually become a part of it. Realize, I'm ready to go. Shackles can't hold you down any longer once you realize that you can be freed and you can go. Last place I'd like to read from, Romans 12:1. Therefore, I urge you, brothers and sisters, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. This is your true and proper worship. Like I said, we as people on this earth, we're here to serve God, right? Once you begin to start serving things other than God, God is not the main thing tugging at you. Because God is always there for you, right? God is not someone who's forcing himself on you. God's always there. God's always there around you. But the thing is, it's your decision to make that step towards God. We are called to be servants of the Lord. We're called to be a sacrifice. And now it's not meaning that, right, forget everything about life and just sacrifice yourself. Obviously not. But we need to dedicate our lives in a proper direction in order to gain that salvation, gain what we deserve, right? Because if I'm going through my day and I'm realizing I'm living here right now and I want to be there, right? A long time ago, Alex was preaching and he had people come up and there were obstacles. You could either go around and stray away from the path, or you can call unto God and you can, right? Is that about it? And if you say, I want to go there, I want to be something great in the ministry, I want to be something great around people, and then you start taking shortcuts or you start going a different direction, right? Here we are going against the Lord. And what did I say in the beginning? The only way to come back is to, again, follow the truth. In conclusion, I just like to summarize that the truth is the only thing that can give you true freedom, right? The truth is something that, even though it's such a detail that we hear constantly, you say, devote your life to the Lord, know the truth, and you'll be set free. And you think, I know this, but you won't really act upon it. You have to come to the conclusion that, you know what? In my life, I think I'm ready to let go of what's holding me down and actually pursue what God has for me.